My simple, quick thoughts about this film is that if you love films like The Expendables and everyone who's involved with them, if you love their action films of their respective time, the films that they are known for, you're gonna love this one. Let's jump into my review of the new film, Interceptor. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the film Interceptor, which is going to be releasing on Netflix June 3rd. Now, like I said in the beginning, quickly, if you love those type of action films like The Expendables and stars, you know, that array of notable action stars and the films that have made them famous, if you love those films, I think you would love this one too. It has the same tone, the same type of exaggerations, and it knows what it wants to do. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't try to be too serious. At times it feels kind of campy, but when it comes down to the stunts and the choreography, oh, it's good. It's good. But this film stars Elsa Pataky. You may have known her as Elena in the Fast franchise, and it also stars, along with executive producing, Chris Hemsworth, her husband. He's the producer, excuse me, who also helped her with her stunts. And I should also add that with her stunts, she performed majority of them, and they're very solid. I thought her performance was solid, the stunts were solid, the choreography was pretty good, very convincing. I thought she had a few really notable fight scenes that I would love to go back and kind of take another look at again. And you know, that's sort of the thing with action films, is like, forget the plot, you know, we want to know what the action's going to be. Will it have a sequence that we need to either come back to, you know, make it go viral from a GIF or whatnot, or just, you know, just the ones you want to reference back to, like, yo, that was top tier, you remember that fight scene, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, I think there was one, maybe two, that I think definitely is worth another look at. I thought she did a really good job as our lead here, as our lead in J.J. Collins, who is an Army captain, and she's, you know, really respected, but she's had a lot of trouble, and I have got to say, the trouble isn't her trouble. It's just almost the nature of being in the Army nowadays, especially with the current climax of the news right now, something that's happening. You know, this is sort of that realism horror in this film. But she is an Army captain. She's respected, and many years of tactical training and military expertise. So, you know, when it comes down to particular type of threats, she is the best of her type. But this now takes her to a remote missile interceptor station that she will be the command of, because there is a very imminent global threat that's occurring right now. I'm gonna come back to that other thing in a second, but the biggest thing with this film is that there is 16 mobile missile launchers missing. Russia, they were stolen from Russia. Russia don't know where they're at. The US can't find them, and there's been a threat to launch all 16 on American soil. The Alaskan base, which has interceptors are basically stations that if there is a missile projectile threat, that we can intercept them before it reaches land. With that base now being compromised, it now comes down to this other remote station in which J.J. Collins is steered in order to stop the threat. But with the terrorists at her door, it's up for her to protect them from getting into the command station to completing their mission here. So that's sort of, you know, the gist of what this film is about and whatnot. But let me go back a little bit about the so I say the realism horror factor to this film, because with her being a female in the Army, she's attractive, but yeah, she's good at her job. Her looks have nothing to do with how she should be treated. Let's make that very, very clear here. But because of some of the commentary in this film where they basically say like, oh, all of everybody wants to get a piece of her, you know what I mean, and you know, and so on and so on. But in her time, she was basically by a top general abused, who tried to abuse their power in order to force her to have sex with her. So abused and sexual harassed and whatnot. And this sparked a whole chain of other things to come, because once she outed him, then everybody turned against her. So this was a chain of hate mail, revenge porn, and she was a woman who lost all of her power because of just how they degraded her, how they disrespected her for everything that she had done for her country, or everything she'd done for the army. It didn't matter because she exposed a top general who tried to use his power in order to have sex with her. So, you know, that with a plethora of sexual harassment, you know? So it's an ugly thing of seeing this woman who, you know, lost her power within this other subplot and theme is regaining her power. So amongst, you know, the missile threat that's going on here, we see this character arc within self of her becoming who she used to be, and she's definitely tested through that and doing things with morale and with ethics and with self-respect. And easily could take the easy way route out here, but didn't. So like I love this sub thing that they had kind of going on here. It is deep, but again, I think it's realism horror in it, and I think like it deserves more attention. Thus, I'm glad that they was able to use this film as another vehicle in order to do so. And again, considering the current state of the news right now in the military, you know, this doesn't, you know, it speaks to the same thing. So there's that. But like I said, you know, with her though, it's a little strange how they were able to intertwine that thing in the overall plot of this film, which I thought was really good, because you have this terrorist, the lead terrorist, who's basically trying to be like a white knight here, and basically trying to use of what she's been through in order to compromise her for his mission, which is a very unique style of storytelling here. I did like that. And I thought like how they was able to intertwine it all together, I thought they did a good job with that. So there's that. And with the group of terrorists, they're American contractors, but they also are working for somebody else, because that's how it always works, you know what I mean? And their whole motivation is to reset America. For all the bad that America has done, this is a way of destroying to rebuild type of tactic. We've seen that plot all over the time, that sort of psychology in our villains and whatnot. So but this Interceptor base is the last hope, and that's what's happening here. Now, like I said, it has good stunts, good choreography. The film was fun, and while the plot of this was, you know, not it was sort of it's a serious topic, but the tone wasn't that serious, and it felt much like typical 90s and early 2000 action films and whatnot. Solid production, not too dark. I enjoyed it. The hand-to-hand combat was good, and you know, I thought it was a lot better than what I was expecting to get. So therefore, I was kind of surprised with it. And it was definitely the bright spot. The action, choreography, hand-to-hand combat was definitely the bright spot of this film. And as I said, if you like the Expendables, then I think, you know, and all the folks that's involved with the Expendables and the films that they're known for, I think this fits right in that niche there. And at times, you know, it felt a little bit like a TV tone and TV production, especially the score at times. But then there was times where things were a little bit heightened, the gore and whatnot. The CG was very mad, but who cared about that? We was here for the practical stuff. With the practical stuff was pretty good. I also liked how this film was pro-women. You had a strong female lead in leadership as the lead of the film, and in the fights you had good women on women fights that was done very well. So I like the writing for the women in this as well. They didn't make them, you know, have to, like, you know, the white knight or the white savior, you know, the person who comes in to try to save everything and whatnot, the male savior or whatnot. They didn't have to have all of that, you know, and I do appreciate that. But with this being an Australian film, and with as the mention of being a producer of Chris Hemsworth, expect a cameo from him in a very strange, funny way. Again, he produces him and helped her with her stunts. And she even mentioned that they were very competitive on set. So I thought that was pretty cool as well too. So But this was a good film. You know, I sorted this one out, and I'm impressed. And you know, why I thought I was going to get like maybe this much of fun, it was a lot more. Definitely worth a watch. So check it out, June 3rd on Netflix, Interceptor. Jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about this when you do. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.